Hello, this is Rosie Amador. I'm a voiceover artist and proud Women on Fire member. This month, Women on Fire founder Debbie Phillips has found an unusual but promising strategy for your time management woes. For the June 2017 membership interview, Debbie talks with leadership expert Tiffany Dufu about her best-selling memoir, Drop the Ball: Achieving More by Doing Less. Tiffany is also the Chief Leadership Officer of the Levo League, which was started in 2011 to support young women in the early stages of their careers and lives. It's much like Women on Fire, only with a focus on women who are millennials. In this inspiring conversation, Tiffany explains what it means to drop the ball and how to decide which balls you can drop. She also shares some thought-provoking ideas about key leadership skills. Let's listen in as Tiffany describes a new way to look at the many roles in your life and the way you define them.
So what's one thing, and I know we're being really general here, but what's one thing a Women on Fire member can do, maybe today or tomorrow, to drop the ball?
Mm-hmm.
What could you say
well,
to her?
The first question I always ask women when I sit down with them, and I sit down with nearly every woman that reaches out to me. I meet women usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, sometimes on Friday mornings at 9, 10, and 11. And the first question is always, what matters most to you? And it's a huge, gigantic, overwhelming question of which normally no one has a very clear answer, which is why I ask it. Because I think that the first step in dropping the ball is you really kind of grappling with this idea that you're probably not living your own story. And it's a really tough thing to grapple with. But if the listeners could do one thing today or tomorrow, I would say to just think about the roles that you occupy in your life. If you're a woman, your first role was probably daughter. Mm-hmm. Maybe at some point you might have become a friend, certainly a student, maybe a sister. Eventually we become sometimes wives and mothers, partners, workers. All of us at some point become citizens or certainly community members. And what often happens is that if you're an ambitious woman, you by default put the word good in front of all of those roles. So you can't just be a daughter, you strive to be a good daughter. Right. You can't just be a student, you need to be a good student. And all of those good roles have these job descriptions that are invisible, but that we kind of all know what goes into that. And so I would ask everyone to ask yourself two questions in relationship to your roles. So just take 5 minutes, 6 minutes out of your busy day and ask yourself this first question, which is, what does a good ex do? You know, if you're a sister, like what does a good sister do? I'm the oldest of 4 girls in my family, so I'm the big sister, and in my good sister job description, it says that I am to respond to my little sister's text messages within 2 minutes. Right? My old job description as a good mom, to be a good mom, was that I needed to be physically present when my child took their first steps. Right? It's a very common good mom job description, but just write down, what does a good ex do? And the second question I want you to ask yourself is, how do you know that that's what a good ex does? How do you know? Okay? Just stop and think. And it's important because the realization that you often come to is, wait a minute, it didn't originate with me.
Right.
And this is a very important realization, especially for modern women who think of themselves as ambitious. Right. And progressive, not in the political sense, but just in the worldly sense. Yeah. We often feel that we are in the driver's seat of our own decision-making. But when you begin to explore these questions, it begins to dawn on you that, in fact, unless you've taken the time to step back and figure out what matters most to you and figure out what your highest and best use is in achieving that and explore why it is that you feel like today it's just absolutely important to take the ground beef out of the freezer. Otherwise, all hell's going to break loose.
Right. To hear the rest of this interview, join the Women on Fire monthly membership today. You will become part of what New York Times best-selling author Marianne Williamson calls the ultimate You Go Girl community for inspiration and support. You have only a few more days to receive the full interview with Tiffany Dufu, your personalized coaching materials, access to the Women on Fire private Facebook page, and much, much more. Join us today at womenonfire.com/membership. We can't wait to meet you.